Good morning, class. In the previous video, we learned about education, mainly about the Takshara University and the Nalanda University. Now, in today's class, we are going to learn about the science and what advancement had taken place during the Gupta period. Open up to page number 64. During the Gupta period, great contribution was made in many branches of science like astronomy, medicine, metallurgy, etc. Varahamihira was a great astronomer. He proved that moon rotates round the earth and the earth rotates round the sun. So we are talking about the Gupta period. Which AD? 3rd to 4th AD. Right? See? Early 4th century AD. So long it was at that period of time that Varahamihir had proven that. Now, the Brihat Samhit of Varahamihir deals with astronomy, botany, you know, the study of plants, natural history and physical geography. Brahmagupta was a mathematician and astronomer. He describes the law of gravitation several centuries before Newton. So please, all these things, the names of the Varahamihir and what all did he discover or what all did he prove, underline that. Same goes for Brahmagupta, that he proved about the law of gravity. Metallurgy, or the scientific study of metals, had reached an advanced stage during the Gupta period. This is evident from the iron pillar at Mehrauli near Qutub Minar in New Delhi. Charak and Sushruta were famous scholars of Ayurveda. So this entire topic is very important. You need to know which person is related with what. Now coming to Aryabhatta. He was a great astronomer and mathematician. He flourished during the reign of Gupta dynasty. His two famous books include Aryabhattiyan and Surya Siddhant. Siddhant means principles. His main achievements were the following. He said that the earth moves round the sun. It was several centuries before the Europeans said the same thing. He discovered the rule for finding the area of a triangle. Please keep on underlining or put a tick mark over there. He calculated the exact value of pi, which was equal to 3.1416. The credit for development of trigonometry should actually go to him. In his work Surya Siddhant, he explained the exact causes of solar and lunar eclipse. Aryabhatta was acquainted with the decimal system and use of zero. So he is more known about the decimal system and the use of zero than he is known about the calculating the exact value of pi, or finding the area of a triangle, or his other scientific achievements. Now coming to culture. The Gupta Empire was a well organized state. This we have already seen when we were learning about the provincial administration, the village administration. So, state under a succession of versatile. Versatile means somebody having a lot number of qualities, and mighty rulers who led it from one point of achievement to another. Each one excelled the other. They did not stop that, okay, fine, we have achieved this, so now it is time to stop. They were trying to better themselves. There was political stability, so trade and commerce flourished. They were strong rulers, and so therefore there was political stability. This economic prosperity allowed people to pursue various arts and crafts and literary activities. As people were not worried about economic prosperity was there everywhere around them, so people were not worried about earning their livelihood. And as the various artisans and craftsmen, they had patrons in rich people, even the kings. So lot of people pursued these activities. Thus, the ideal conditions available in the Gupta age led to the unprecedented development of Indian culture. Up till now, under the various kingdoms and dynasties, nowhere, at no point of time, the other dynasties other than the Gupta dynasty or the Gupta Empire, people have achieved such, there have been such achievements as during the Gupta Empire. Now, unlike the earlier period when wood or other perishable material was used for temple construction, the temples in Gupta period were built of solid material like bricks and stone. So this is another achievement. They knew that wood will decay and at some point of time, so they started building with bricks and stones. Now, coming to the Vishnu temple at Deogarh. The Vishnu temple, also called the Dashavtar temple, it is said, according to Hindu mythology, it is said that Vishnu has 10 avatars or 10 forms, is one of the finest examples of Gupta architecture. It is about 125 km from Jhansi in Uttar Pradesh. It is one of the earliest Hindu stone temples to survive till date. So it is still surviving. It was the first North Indian temple with a shikara or tower. So can you see the Vishnu temple, shikara or tower you can see over there? Now, although a part of it has disappeared, in spite of its dilapidated condition, the temple has a compelling presence. So, we are talking about 4th century AD and now this is 21st century AD. In spite of its dilapidated condition, the temple has a compelling presence, very forceful presence. It was completely made of stone and bricks. The temple was built on a 1.5 meter high platform. See over here. 4 stairways outside the platform provide access to the temple. Its exterior is decorated with scenes from Ramayana. The entrance and pillars were adorned with countless paintings and carvings. It is dedicated to Lord Vishnu, the god of preservation, who is shown asleep on the coil of the giant serpent called Sheshnag. There was an outer wall around the temple, which I think does not survive anymore. But then it is, though it is in ruins, not exactly in ruins, part of it has survived, of the temple has survived. So it is a great finest example of the Gupta architecture. Now coming to the literature part. The Gupta age constitutes an important phase in the history of Sanskrit literature. It replaced Prakrit not only in inscriptions but also in religious and philosophical literature. So now people could concentrate more on learning, so Prakrit, the common language of the people or of the masses, was done away with even in inscriptions and even in religious and philosophical literature. Now you all know that Prakrit was favored by Buddhists and Jains because then it was easier for them to reach to the masses. Sanskrit became the language of the learned and retained its supreme position for 1,000 years. Guptas made Sanskrit official language for administrative purposes. So whether you knew it or not, if you were an official kind of an official, then you had to learn the language. Sanskrit was used in official documents as well as in inscriptions. The classical Sanskrit literature that flowered during the Gupta period consisted of epics, poetry, drama, lyrics and prose. Both religious and secular literature existed side by side. Secular, which is not religious in nature. The Gupta age was distinguished by a number of writers whose contributions vastly enriched the different branches of Indian literature. These included Kalidas, Shudraka, Bhasa, Harisen, Dandin, Subandhu and Bharvi. But the most shining light was, of course, Kalidas, the famous poet and dramatist. Now coming to Kalidas. Children, please keep on underlining what you see and you have to learn the names of all these writers. Kalidas is regarded as the greatest poet and playwright India has ever produced. Vincent Smith has rightfully compared the Gupta age with the Elizabethan period in the history of England. According to him, in India, all the lesser lights are outshone by the brilliancy of Kalidas, as in England, all the smaller authors are overshadowed by Shakespeare. So at times we often refer to when you are doing your Merchant of Venice. So if it is not an abridged version that you read, then you will know about the Shakespearean language or the Elizabethan English. Now his 4 poetic works are Ritusamhar, Raghuvamsa, Meghdut and Kumar Sambhav. These are the 4 major literary works of Kalidas. The 3 dramatic works of Kalidas were Vikram Orvashyam, Malvika Nimitram and Abhigyanam Shakuntalam. His dramatic work Abhigyanam Shakuntalam narrates the love story of King Dushyant and Shakuntala, whose son Bharat later became the ruler. So all this is very important, children. You have to learn it by heart. The Meghdut or the Cloud Messenger is equally an outstanding lyrical poetic work. The hero of Malvika Nimitram is Chandragupta Vikramaditya. It was written to commemorate the marriage of his daughter Prabhavati with Rudrasen. All the works of Kalidas, especially dramatic works, have been translated into many major languages of the world. Although the subject matter of Kalidas' work is love, nature and beauty, they nevertheless give reliable information about the government, society and religion of the Gupta period. Besides, they also contain traces of political history. Now, whether we are talking about a love story or a fictional story, children, the writer of that particular time has to refer to the society or the political situation prevalent during that time. So from these works one can know what was going on in the Gupta Empire when these works of fiction or literature were written. Now with this we have come to the end of the Gupta Empire or the age of the Guptas. I want you to again give this chapter a thorough reading, not just once but 3-4 times, at the same time making notes and making sure that you have underlined all the important things, written down the meanings. Now you have to make a flow chart of all the, when we are doing the administration, you have to make a flow chart like this, so that it will be easier for you to remember. As to the hierarchy in the administration, you also have to make a flow chart of all the Gupta kings or emperors, so that it is easier for you to remember. In case if there is something which you have not understood, please note it down somewhere so that we can discuss it once the school reopens. Till that time, stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you.